Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1975 for the 25th of October, the situation report or the SITREP. And major things has happened over in the Donetsk front. Russian forces have captured a lot of grounds despite the frontline changes report where I published at that moment of time in that past 24 hours. Most of the changes was in favor of the Ukrainians, but then since then, Deep State UA immediately dropped bombshells, and I'm gonna show you the bombshells. So we're gonna start off from the Kherson front and going anti-clockwise direction. There's nothing much over at the Kherson front. There is only Ukrainian Defense Ministry reporting about Russians attacking their positions, which they did not mention exactly where. So we're gonna just ignore it. There is a geolocation of a Lancet hitting an Iris-T launcher, a surface-to-air missile system. So we haven't seen a surface-to-air missile system getting destroyed for a long time since the heyday of the Kursk offensive. So, and the fact that the Iris-T was moved here is a bit unusual, a bit suspicious, because this is not exactly a important front line at all. This is not even an active front line. So moving a surface-to-air missile system here is a bit suspicious. So something to take note of. Over at the Zaporizhia front, there is no fighting being reported along this front line. It's very quiet. We move into the Donetsk front, which is the main highlight of this past 24 hours. So the over at the Velika Novosibirsk sector, we have fighting reported. So the Russian forces have launched a major offensive operation along this line. So Russian forces attack Velika Novosibirsk. They have been geolocated north of Zolota Neva, confirming that the Russians have captured Zolota Neva. So this is the first confirmation of the full capture of Zolota Neva, because the Russians can't really reach there if they have no full control of Zolota Neva, and fighting is now moving towards Shetazky. They are also pushing towards Novodukrenka, and they have reached basically just outside of Bohov-Yevlenka. So this is a massive major operation all coming at the same time. And this is what I always mean by, offensive actions. Because sometimes we do see a lot of fighting across front line, or maybe sporadic here and there. But a real proper offensive will come all in conjunction, all at the same time, and they will capture ground. Because if you punch with your full strength and then you don't capture ground, then that's kind of stupid, right? And because the initial punch will always be the strongest punch. So this is very big, and this is actually corroborated and reported by the Ukrainian side. In terms of input, like for example, the mapping at the Bohov-Yevlenka region, this coming from the Ukrainian mapping. For the Shetazky, south of Shetazky, the Ukrainian mapping did not go as far as what we have done, because we actually base it on the geolocation. So massive update regarding this sector. And Shetazky from the front line is around just over 2.5 kilometers. So there is still a little bit of distance, but I think the Russians is going to close up this distance pretty quickly. So at Bohov-Yevlenka, I want to zoom in as well. You can see that the Russian front line basically have reached basically just outside of Bohov-Yevlenka. They have captured the major fortification just south of it. And I believe that at this moment, they are already inside of Bohov-Yevlenka already. The fact being that the Ukrainian mapping always marks confirmed capture. And then everywhere up front where the Russians are currently attacking, they will put it as a gray zone. So, which means that the Russians are already probably inside of Bohov-Yevlenka, and the battle of Bohov-Yevlenka is now on. So that is the significance in this sector. Over at the Konstantinivka region, Russian forces are attacking, still fighting in the region of Katerinivka. Weirdly, no fighting reported at Antonivka. Geolocation of Russian forces in the northwest of Boyeda shows that the Russians have launched a major operation alongside with the one along the Voleda line, where they were attacking northward, right, towards Novoyokrenka. So the exact front line is unclear. So that's why it's just a pokey triangle, and the Russians are now pushing down this straight tree line. I believe this is the aim. They're going to go down this whole tree line and probably do a flanking southward wherever they want. So tentatively, I think this is going to be very stressful times for the Ukrainians, because now you see that the Russians are pushing in so many directions. So they're attacking all the way in the south. They're attacking in the flanking operation, in this direction. I use another color in this direction. So yeah, you can see how stressful is looking like. I think the next prime objective, of course, we have a few. Bohovevlenka, of course, is the important one, and then the next one, the next really big one is going to be Uspennivka, because this is the hub here. Capturing Uspennivka will collapse the entire front line around in this entire sector here. This will collapse. So. And then here, Shataske, of course, is super important. So there's a few major objectives for the Russians right now in this major offensive operation. So we're definitely going to keep a lookout for how this is going to progress. There's some geolocation of airstrikes and drone strikes, which is working alongside with the ground offensive. So this is being geolocated. Over at the Cherni region, it went quiet. Only fighting is reported at Hostre, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So this is like a shock, right? Previously the Russians was pushing really hard at the Cherni region, and maybe this forced the Ukrainians to really concentrate on defending this area. Then suddenly the Russians are pushing through the Donetsk in a very heavy way. So this could be a case, but of course this is just my projection of maybe that's what happened. I missed out this one. There's a massive airstrike over at Rosleaf. So anyway, moving into the Pokrovsk front, in the Selidove sector, Russian forces have created an elephant around here. This is an elephant, this is the elephant. This is like then they are very happy. So the elephant, the elephant has appeared, because the Russians have now gone down all the way down the railway line and captured and entered Vishneve from the south. They have captured the entire southern part of Selidove, and then towards Novodimitrivka, the Russian forces have arrived at the main road. I wouldn't say a highway, the main road between Novodimitrivka and Selidove. So this push is huge. A massive amount of ground has been lost. It looks like the Ukrainians aren't defending. They have redrawn somewhere else. So it's currently unclear where they have redrawn to, and the Russians have is now pushing towards Novodimitrivka. I believe that they will cross the road. They ask why the chicken crossed the road. Now we ask why the Russian crossed the road, because it's for Oleksievka. So this is the next target, and of course, the Battle of Selidove continues. So we're going to zoom in a bit over at this area here. We can see a bit clearer. So this Selidove, and Russian forces, as you can see, they have traveled along the railway line, have entered into the southeastern part of Vishneve. So this is pretty significant. And according to this, is based on Ukrainian mapping. So in the Ukrainian mapping, they also shows that the Russian forces have attacked from the south, as well as continue the progress from the east towards the southeast. And this front line means that the Russian forces is going to quickly overrun the Ukrainian position, because you can see that the Ukrainians have no more. It's going to be in deep trouble. They can't go to Vishneve now because this road is now closed. They have to cross the river over at this Solona River. There's only 2 bridges left for the Ukrainian forces defending this area here. They have no more routes unless they want to go through the swamps and the fields, which is going to be dangerous because the Russians are already there. There's going to be fire control over at this sector. So the Ukrainians must withdraw across the river right now, or they're going to get encircled and destroyed. And this is a very elephant trampling situation for the Ukrainians. Very dangerous right now. The Ukrainians have to escape across the river, or they're gonna be in deep trouble. As you can see, the river the river continues like this, so they have to cross. There's only 2 crossing, so they have to quickly cross over and defend from the north. But the north, this is going to be difficult because the Russians have already previously been geolocated in the north of this area. They're going to continue to attack towards the road. So if they don't escape through the road right now, down the road towards the highway, then they will have to go through the fields towards Kharkovka, which is not, of course, not as ideal. So the situation at Selidove is desperate right now for the Ukrainians. So we move on to the Pokrovsk sector at the Pokrovsk front. Russian forces are reportedly attacking at Lisievka, north of Novohorodivka, Krutia, and Krasnaya. This is mainly again to fight back the Ukrainian counter-offensive previously that was initiated. So they're going to push them back out again. So this is the current situation over in Pokrovsk sector. Otherwise, in the northern front of the Pokrovsk front, there is only fighting reported towards Mariolibivka, and that's about it. We move into the New York front. There's New York front. It went really quiet. There's only fighting reported at Torex, and that's about it. There is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces in the Russian zone, Russian controlled zone, within the Zabalka region. So some people ask me, are the Russians really there? This mapping was previously mapped because Russian forces was geolocated inside of this area here. So who knows? Maybe the geolocation is wrong, but tentatively it's looking like the Ukrainians are definitely around on this eastern part. This 100% for sure. So we shall continue to monitor the situation in this area, because this armored personnel carrier was destroyed by the FPV drone. So there is a chance that the Russians may not be here anymore because of the usage of the FPV drone. So, but we shall see how this continue to develop. And we move on to the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, it went super quiet as well. Only fighting reported at Chasivia. It seems like the entire world has just stopped moving just for the Donetsk offensive region. So we moved into the Sivers front. At the Sivers front, fighting is reported at Vimka and Ivano-Darivka. This information is coming from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So that's about it. We move on to the Crimea front. At the Crimea front, serious situation is developing. So fighting is reported at Serbianske, Forestry, Torske, and Terni. And the Terni region is where this critical situation is currently happening. As mentioned previously, because of the capture at Novosadove, the Russians are now pushing south. From Novosadove, they have now entered into Terni. So they have entered into Terni in the north, and Russian forces has already been geolocated in the entrance. So they are now starting the battle of Terni from the north. So previously, the Russians are struggling very hard. They have been trying to attack from the east since forever. And it haven't been very successful because the Ukrainians were defending really well. But now the Russians are attacking through the weak side. Basically, it's like attacking from the rear position. And they are now attacking through the flanks into Terni. And I think this is going to collapse the Ukrainian defense. The Ukrainians will end up redrawing because the frontline troops, if they know what is happening around here, wouldn't want to stay at the front line anymore because they run the risk of getting cut off. So similarly, Terni is very vulnerable in terms of retreat and resupply route. There is one road around here which cannot be accessed anymore towards Ivanivka. There's another road around here. This is the only one that's moving down to the other side of the river, the Zedebets River. The other one is going to go south, moving all the way to Yampolivka to cross towards Merne. So in terms of the Ukrainian position at Terni is now super vulnerable, and I think this is going to be very, very disastrous. In the north, I believe this I have already covered before, so this is not very important. This has been covered before. So yeah, the Russians have cleared out this area. I forgot to gray out this mapping from the previous day. And it was in the Sverdlovsk front there is fighting reported at Vishneve. So that's about it. And we move into the Pischane Kupiansk front. There's nothing happening at the Pischane front. At the Kupiansk front, fighting is reported in the Holubivka region as well as in the Stepova Novoselivka. So this area continues to be intriguing. We don't have the exact full mapping to really reflect upon, other than the Russians are in the forest. And so Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported about the attack by the Russians in this area. Probably the Russians are attacking through the forest near to Holubivka. They're definitely not attacking Holubivka because that's across the river. So, and there is geolocation of Russian airstrike in Kupiansk. So, yeah, so that's about it in the Kupiansk front. We move into the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, There is only fighting being reported at Voschansk. This is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and the Russians, I believe. Yeah, only the Ukrainians. So that's all from this area. The Russian Defense Ministry don't have much reports because they did the weekly summary. So yeah, we don't have the only daily report that we have from the Russians is from the Kursk front. So which is good because the Ukrainians do not report on the Kursk front. Only the Russians report on the Kursk front. So that's the current situation right now. So Russian forces continue the main offensive action over in the western flank. The Ukrainians are counterattacking and are trying to block the Russian advance. Clashes continues over at Blakovo, and the Ukrainians try to attack Novi Put. So we're going to go into details. So at Blakovo, there is the geolocation of Ukrainian forces. Basically confirmed that the Ukrainians have actually a more advanced position than previously understood by the Russian mapping. So this invalidates Russian mapping. But otherwise, the Russians are still attacking this area here. So Battle of Blakovo continues. There's a geolocation of a Russian airstrike on the Ukrainian position in the forest west of Blakovo. So that's all. There's no more news regarding the fight towards Kiryevka. So this was not update. There's no more information about that. Then we're going to come to the main front line over the western flank. The Russian forces were attacking this tree line. This confirmed that the Ukrainians actually have full control over Darino. So the Darino is definitely under Ukrainian control. And the Russian mapping have acknowledged this because of this video footage. So you can also see that the Russian sources is also very dependent on the geolocation of to try to find out the front line, because any other stuff is based on the reports from their sources, and sometimes this information can be wrong. The Russians are attacking Darino. They're attacking Nizhny Klin, Lyubimovka, Zelenishek, Novo-Ivanovka, and the Ukrainians are counter-attacking currently at Novo-Ivanovka as well as in Alexandria, which is a bit weird. But the Russians did say that it's in the direction of Alexandria. So not entirely particularly sure how to interpret this. The geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit by FPV drone and shelling along the road, as the Ukrainians are constantly moving troops to try to plug the hole around here. So currently this is the situation. I believe that Nizhny Klin is most likely under Ukrainian control. This is my gut feeling. I don't think the Russians have captured it. But the Russians most likely have Pokrovsk. So this is the current situation that I believe that is currently happening around here. So there's still heavy clashes in this area here. So we were going to continue to wait and see how this continues to develop. The Ukrainians are definitely not giving up. They are fighting really fiercely in this sector. And over at Novi Put, there is news of Ukrainian forces try to attack through Novi Put again. And but it failed. It didn't work out, and the Russian forces managed to hold the line. So that's about it. So anyway, that's it. So this is the situation report or the summary for the day of 975 for the 25th of October. Do press the like button, subscribe, share this with your contacts who are interested in the Ukraine war, and a lot of analysis today. So hopefully that helps, and I'll see you guys in the next update.